This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
All right, let's talk to Tom Murphy this morning of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. Tom, I just asked Chuck about the playoff. What did you think about the first initial college football playoff rankings?
No big shocker. And like Chuck just said, if Georgia runs out the table, they'll go ahead of them.
Well, we did have a shocker last night with the Rangers winning in 5 games in the World Series. I think they were like 75-1 odds beforehand. I know you had your team, the Atlanta Braves, were pretty heavy favorites. What do you think about the Rangers for the first time ever in their franchise history, 50-plus years, getting it done last night, Tom?
Yeah, super happy for that franchise. I felt so bad for them the year they had the Cardinals on the ropes, and it seemed like there was a fly ball out to right field that Nelly Crew was out there, and there's a bunch of other outfielders, I think, who would have made the catch in the game at that time. But they didn't, and they lost the World Series, and felt so bad for them. So I'm happy I know a bunch of folks around who are Rangers fans, and certainly wanted them to win. I was very happy that the D-backs eliminated the Phillies, though. That's probably my favorite round of the playoffs so far.
Tom Murphy with us on the McClarty-Daniel hotline. Sam Pitman visited with the media in the middle of the day and then had his coaches show last night. Tom, I thought the most interesting and insightful moment was your question about communication with line blocking schemes, and go through them all. I thought it was a great question. I thought his non-answer was very telling yesterday.
Yeah, it must have been, and I think it's completely reflective of maybe how detailed and how hard maybe it was for, KJ to have to make the read and call out the blocking scheme, and then for everyone to be on the same page, because that's what we heard over and over after some of the losses about how we got to communicate better, be on the same page. And so maybe so what I just asked Sam Pitman was part of the reason for the change, the ability to communicate blocking and protection schemes. And wow, he you could tell he had thoughts on it, and he just didn't really want to say anything. And I think it's reflective of there was a lot on KJ Jefferson's plate on what he had to see and communicate in the language that they had, 1 year's worth or one camp's worth of language. And so if you boil down all Arkansas's offensive problems to their root causes, maybe the protection scheme just didn't suit the offensive lineman's skill sets. And so he didn't say much of anything, and I think in doing so, it said a whole lot about the complexity of the Dan Enos, attack. And hopefully maybe they've cut down on their number of schemes or, the verbiage you use to communicate them, and that'll help KJ and then, in turn, the offensive line.
Number one issue with this team, and it has been since the Kent State game, they can't consistently run the football. Do you expect that to change, and what are the key things that must be different this week if Arkansas is able to run the football effectively against Florida?
Yeah, I think of all the issues that have faced this team, the fact that they went from being a powerful, top 10 in the country running team for 2 years in a row to being like one of the worst in all of the FBS has just been kind of shocking, because you brought back 2 of your starting offensive linemen. But you heard him say on the radio show last night that the mesh between KJ and the back was taking too long, and the O-linemen can only hold their blocks for so long. And because that mesh was taking long, by the time the running back got the ball or KJ made the decision to keep it, you already had guys shooting through gaps and, defeating their block or whatever it might be, and not a lot of room to run. So maybe I don't know if you can wholesale change, make the mesh quicker, but if it's just a tick quicker, a fraction of a second, and guys can shoot through the gaps, the running backs can, it does a lot for you. And I don't know if they could be suddenly a really good running team, but even just being able to get 3, 4, 5 yards a pop on the ground would be a nice change for this team.
Tom Murphy with us here on the McClarty-Daniel Hotline. Tom, we've talked a good chunk about Rocket Sanders and his possibility of playing his own home state. But for Joshua Braun getting to go up against his former team, I know Sam Pitman said he hadn't necessarily talked to Josh about that aspect of this game, but what do you think this game means to him?
Oh, I think it's a big deal. To find out that he, for him to get his degree at Florida, he had to be involved in this coursework that was between like 3 and 6 p.m., and it was right at practice. And so he made the very tough decision to go ahead and take that class, and so he couldn't be part of the football team at the end of, I guess, his last semester there. And so, he ended up having to transfer out. So he's still got buddies on the team. It's meaningful to him. So turns out that Sam Pitman basically had him committed to Georgia, and that when Sam took this job, Braun then decommitted from Georgia and signed with Florida. So, I think it's super meaningful for him that he's been a player in the swamp, and who knows what that could translate into. Does he play better? We'll see what that means. But, any little edge Arkansas can get, being able to maintain the ball, Florida doesn't turn it over very much. So I think, not having turnovers, possessing the ball a little bit longer are all keys. This team has not been far off, and I know that, the rest of the country looks at Arkansas and sees 2 and 6 and a 6-game losing streak, and you kind of write that program off. But they've been so close. I mean, it's hard to imagine a lot of other teams playing Bama within 3 in Tuscaloosa and playing Ole Miss within 7 and so on down the line, LSU within 3. And so who knows, maybe this is the week they put it all together and come up with a winning game plan.
Tom, you kind of mentioned Josh being recruited by Sam earlier on and then him coming to the head coach at Arkansas. We've seen a couple times where the Razorbacks might have been in the running, top 3 for a kid. He initially goes somewhere else. Sam got asked about that at the beginning of the press conference yesterday, the idea of not damaging a relationship with the kid if he elects to go elsewhere out of college. How successful do you think Arkansas could be in the aspect of, hey, you might miss on a top-profile kid initially, but if he hits the portal, then he's going to be maybe choosing to come to Fayetteville because of that relationship that they have with Pitman.
Right, and that's happened before, and I can't sit here and rattle off the names because there's been so much change, in recent years. But Braun is a good example of it. That, oh yeah, man, I like that guy. I ended up signing with so and so, but Sam Pitman was fun to be around. I love his sense of humor, his genuine approach, and to hear Sam's talk yesterday about Rob Sale, who is the offensive coordinator and like co-O-line coach at Florida. And Sam Pitman replaced Rob Sale at Georgia as O-line coach. And then he goes on and he's at Louisiana Lafayette, and this young guy named DJ Looney is coaching out there, and Sam's close to him. And DJ Looney has a sudden heart attack out on the field in August of 20, the COVID year. And his relationship with Rob Sale gets closer because he's calling Louisiana Lafayette that summer to check on, DJ Looney, who's, his good friend. And in turn, his relationship with Rob Sale gets closer because they're on the same staff out in Lafayette together. So I do believe that you hear coaches joining his staff like Travis Williams and Marcus Woodson and talk about what Sam's name means in the industry, and these are good examples of how genuinely he bonds with people and what that means in recruiting. And so it all kind of ties in together, right? Your ties in the recruiting industry or in the coaching industry, and then what you do in recruiting.
Yeah. Tom, let's get you out of here on this one. Dwight McGlothern has been out of the lineup. Coach said he's back and healthy, but has not earned his way back into snaps. What will be his role this Saturday at Florida, and how impactful do you think he'll be on this game?
Yeah, it's guesswork at this point. I asked Sam specifically about that, I think, on the SEC coach's call yesterday, because he's been a good player. He grades well when he's out there. Clearly something has happened behind the scenes that, has slowed down his progress, so to speak. But if he can do that, then you got extra depth at corner. You can move Snacks Johnson around, and you can spell your safeties a little bit more, and it helps all around. So hopefully he's back in good graces, fully healthy, and can give you a good performance. And if so, I think it trickles down to the rest of the secondary.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.